Good morning. The year was 169 AD, and the air in the Roman camp was thick with tension. We had set up our encampment in the dense forests near the Danube River, where the Germanic tribes had been gathering their forces. The smell of damp earth and pine needles filled the air, mingling with the faint smoke from our cook fires. The sun had barely risen, casting long shadows over the tents and fortifications as my generals and I pored over maps, the flickering torchlight dancing across our faces. The Germanic tribes were no ordinary foe. They were fierce, relentless, and they knew the land far better than we did. Reports had come in that their numbers were overwhelming, more than we could ever hope to match in a straightforward battle. The mood in the camp was grim. Soldiers whispering among themselves, the usual camaraderie replaced by a quiet, simmering fear. Even the horses seemed uneasy, their restless movements mirroring the anxiety that rippled through the ranks. I stood by the map, my fingers tracing the lines of the terrain, feeling the rough parchment under my hand. My generals were there, their eyes fixed on me, waiting for a plan, a solution. They wanted to strike hard and fast, to meet the enemy with the full force of the legions. But I knew that such a move would be disastrous. The Germanic tribes thrived in the chaos of battle. They would easily turn our strength against us in the dense, unfamiliar forests. Instead, I called for silence, a moment of stillness in the heart of our preparations. I looked each of my commanders in the eye, letting the gravity of the situation settle into their bones. "We will not meet them head-on," I said, my voice steady and deliberate. "Our victory will not come from brute force, but from the subtlety of our actions, the precision of our decisions." We began to execute a plan that relied on deception, patience, and psychological warfare. Small skirmishing parties were dispatched into the forests, not to engage, but to draw the enemy out, to stretch their lines thin. They moved like ghosts through the trees, their footsteps muffled by the soft underbrush. Each night we lit fewer fires in the camp, creating the illusion that our numbers were dwindling, that we were retreating in fear. It was a game of shadows and whispers, of letting the enemy believe what we wanted them to believe. As the days passed, the tension in the camp shifted from fear to a quiet, determined resolve. The soldiers, once anxious, now moved with purpose, their confidence slowly building as the plan began to take shape. They trusted in me, in the strategy that was unfolding, even if they didn't fully understand it. I could see it in the way they prepared their weapons, in the way they spoke in hushed tones, their eyes sharp with focus. Finally, the day of the battle arrived. The morning was cold, the sky a slate gray that seemed to press down on us. I stood before my men, the ground beneath us hard with frost. The breath of the soldiers rising in clouds as they awaited my command. The forest loomed around us, dark and foreboding, the silence only broken by the distant calls of crows. When the Germanic forces finally appeared, they were spread out, confident in their perceived advantage. But we had drawn them into a position of weakness, into a landscape that now favored us. I gave the signal, and our legions struck with precision, emerging from the shadows like a wave of steel and discipline. The enemy, caught off guard, faltered. Their numbers meant nothing in the face of our calculated strikes. Their chaotic energy dissipated against our calm, unyielding force. The battle was brutal, as all battles are, but it was our resolve, our patience, and our strategy that won the day. As I walked through the aftermath, the ground littered with the detritus of war, I reflected on what had truly led us to victory. It was not just the strength of our arms, but the strength of our minds, the ability to see beyond the obvious, to trust in a path that others might have dismissed as too cautious, too slow. For you, this means: consider a moment in your life where the odds seemed stacked against you, where others may have doubted your approach. Reflect on the importance of patience, of strategic thinking, and of quiet confidence. Today, as you face challenges, take a step back. Don't rush into action. Instead, pause, observe, and trust in the path that might not be the most direct, but is the most sure. Notice how this approach can guide you through the complexities of life, leading you to success in ways that brute force alone never could. Have a day filled with quiet strength, deliberate action, and unwavering resolve.